So we have, so it's lovely to see some familiar faces here. So Roberta Boscolo, we have Emily Wallace, Lauren DeBoer, and Marcelo, who we have already heard from a bit earlier. So they are our judges, and thank you, judges, for being part of our presentation stage here. Now, you're probably wondering about the prizes, right? So I've been told not to let you stay in suspense. So the prize is the winning group will have a dedicated 1 hour mentoring session with a selected expert from the summer school. And we will hope that you'll enjoy that and make the most of that. So we are going to go straight on and give the floor to group one. But first of all, Steph, it's not on my thing here. Would you want to go back to that slide about the 5-step process, perhaps? So I can talk on that. Right. Okay. So we have 5 presentations that the judges are going to judge us on. And judges, if I could ask you, please, because of time's sake, if maybe 1 or 2 of you do the feedback after every presentation, so you could probably rotate amongst yourselves or something. So we have 5 pitches here. We have 1, stakeholder engagement and co-creation approaches for climate services using seasonal forecasts. The second group is going to look at data retrieval and processing of seasonal forecasts. 3, post-processing seasonal forecasts. 4, creating a mini business plan and financing for a seasonal forecast service. And evaluation and cross-sectoral benefits of climate services. So we're going to start, therefore, with group 1. So Lina Ababna, are you there? You have got 5 minutes. So Lina is going to be leading this presentation. Now, Steffi, what Steffi's going to do is going to put a timer on the screen. And if you can just indicate that you can see that when Steffi puts it. If not, I'll be able to give you a 1-minute warning. So Lina, are you ready? We can start the timer again if you're not quite ready yet.
Sorry, I'm ready, but I need to share my screen, right? Or are you going to pause it? How is that going to happen?
Steffi?
How are we going to share the screen? Or are you paused? Like,
are you able to share your screen or not yet? Don't worry, I will set the clock back again. Don't worry about the clock.
Okay, desktop, it is. It's done. Shift, select, multiple share. Can everybody see my screen? Awesome. Cool.
Yes. Okay.
Splendid. So with that said, let me start it over here. So hello, everybody, and welcome to the stakeholder and engagement and collaboration case study from the climate services. My name is Lina, as you have heard, and I'm going to be your presenter. I'm also the stakeholder engagement facilitator. And we were lucky enough that our case study took us to the central part of Chile in South America, where all of the wine country is, and we were able to work with the farmers. And as you can see from the map, the central country where it's circled over here, it's where we are concerned with the farmers' ability to understand the climate and the forecast in order to benefit for their crop production. With that said, you will see quickly from this video in front of you that the land itself is inland, first of all, so there's lots of farmers, and there are mountains in the background, but also, most importantly, it's Mediterranean, i.e., this means to us, that's number 1, it is dry in the summer, and 2, they rely on water from precipitation for the irrigation canal. And as you can see over here, all of these wine country, all of this is economy value for it. And that's what makes it even more interesting. Naturally, the landscape itself have identified for us who are going to be our stakeholders. And our stakeholders immediately became to be the farmers, the power company, and the water authority. And in a solicited meeting with them, we try to understand what is it they're expecting from us as the climate service, from the climate services. So we've asked them to provide their opinion. And here's what they said, the farmers.
Hi everyone, I am Pratima Shrestha and the President of the Farmers Associations. We are glad to be part of this important discussion on climate services, which is very crucial in today's time. We'd like to get the reliable and efficient seasonal forecast for the precipitation, rainfall, drought, in order to protect our crops and livelihood. Access to sufficient water is our right, and we'd like to have adequate water flows daily. We also need to get proper communication channels among the different water users in this society. Thank you.
Great. And then we asked the power company to provide us with their point of view. And here's
Hello, everyone. As a power generation company, we are interested in climate service for our planning and operations, from short-term precipitation forecasts and alarms to seasonal forecast up to 1 year in advance for reservoirs utilization planning. As one of the stakeholders in water regulation, distribution, and consumption, we are interested in climate service and weather flow forecast for the community to allow common understanding of short and long-term projections and be able to discuss better ways to regulate weather use in an intraday, weekly, and seasonal scopes with a win-win approach.
great, thank you. And then there came the water authority company, and here's what they said.
Hello, and welcome to the stakeholder engagement meeting. I am the public officer of the Water Authority in the Chilean government. We aim to empower our farmers with water schedule management through a data-driven decision-making. We hope climate services will provide us with the tools to achieve our goal. Thank you.
Thank you indeed. With that in perspective, we went ahead as climate service people and we developed a plan that will span for 9 months. And in this one, we aim to community engagement through learning. We're going to teach the teachers how to understand the climate data, and we will target schools, organizations, and farm owners. And the perspective of this, from the feedback of this interaction, we will develop an application that is compatible with all types of cell phones and iPads, where they can get the forecast, and it will give us immediate feedback about the forecast with those small icons that are like what we use in the Facebook. We are through this quite aware that we're going to be faced with challenges, but our goal over here is to have a long-lasting effect in the community by training them and giving them an understanding.
1 minute left, Lena.
And know how climate works, and most importantly, maybe have local experts coming out of this experiment. And at the end, I would like to thank the summer school, the organizers and the leaders for this, and I'm going to open it up for your questions, and thank you again for listening.
Thank you very much, and nice timing as well. So over to the judges, please take the floor.
Nail it in.
Okay, maybe I go first. So Lena, excellent presentation. Really liked the hearing from the users. It's really important that we listen to them and we have an idea of their needs and their gaps. I would say it's not clear in general. The app is a normal app that is with the weather, and then I don't know. It was not clear to me what is the tailoring aspect of the products, but I think it was very nice to you described the climate, the local climate, and then you had a very good understanding of the stakeholder mapping, and especially I would say you provide a vision that is an integrated vision. Is agriculture, is farmers, is also energy, and is water and irrigation. So yeah, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other judge would like to jump in?
Yeah, I agree with Roberta's comments there. It was a really nice presentation and great to hear directly from the users about their needs. And as Roberta said, getting that whole picture across the farmers and the power and the water was a really nice aspect. What I wondered about as a next step is how you'd manage the expectations of those users. So if they're used to working with a standard weather app where maybe the forecasts are very more certain, if you're starting to work on the seasonal timescales and further ahead, how you manage the expectations of the users in terms of the amount of information they're likely to gain from those services. Thinking point.
But are we supposed to have this as an engaged back and forth discussion, or
You can respond. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool, thanks. So these are very valid comments on both sides, and I didn't know if I'm supposed to respond to Roberta or not, because I wasn't sure about this technique of it. So yeah, these are very valid comments, and one of the biggest things that we were concerned about is how we're going to meet the expectations, because farmers usually have very big expectations about the irrigation process, and did I get my right or not? And that's actually one of the biggest reasons why we focus on the education part, going and talking to the schools, to the teachers, the women organization, and we took the fabric, the social fabric, into consideration with this, whether it's a maternal or a paternal society, whether it's an indigenous group or have a monolithic religion. So that's where it's going to be our entry point. We do admit that that was heavy in our minds as we propose this, and we know that we're going to be challenged with it, but we have to start and get immediate feedback from the stakeholders as we are meeting with them. And most importantly, I think, and I would love one of the group members to jump in, is to gain that trust with them. Because if they don't understand the material and trust us, they're not going to be able to know what's going on between their hands. And of course, the expectations are going to be high, and they're going to fail in meeting them. And then we're going to go back into that square one media. So that's my take on it.
If I can add something, Lina, I really appreciate your approach on training and education. And I think it's very, very important because it targets exactly the farmers and the farmer society. And really, I really love that part. And I think that one project could be devoted only to that. What I found missing is actually the more commercial part. So the energy utility and the water utility. And if from one side, I appreciate the social engagement that you propose, I really miss what is the business model behind the approach. So are you really answering to the request of the energy utility and water utility? And if yes, how could you make money from the service you are providing? So these are my two questions.
That's a very good question. And my understanding that we were not supposed to assess it, but in the back of my head, it was in there. How we're going to make money from this? The application can be tailored to other services. And I'm going to bring in over here the Norwegian Meteorological Society application that started originally for Norwegia and then started developing into all of the Scandinavian countries. So that's our case study.
About a minute left.
Yeah. That's our case study to base off that. It started simple, but now everybody in the Scandinavians and some edge of the Central European countries are using it as well. So that's where I was about to say that we might be able to bring in the money over there.
Any final comments, judges? We got about 30 seconds.
Yes, I can say that for the power generation company point of view, first we need a common understanding with farmers. We need to level the comprehension of the problematic to start then looking forward for optimization. Yes.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to have to stop you there, I'm afraid. I'm going to be very tight with timing. So thank you, both of you. Thank you, Group One. For me personally, as an educator, it was very pleasing to see some stakeholder voices in there. Okay, so we're going to go over to Group Two. So Group Two, if you get yourself ready, and this is a data retrieval and processing of seasonal forecasts, and representing Group Two is Kansu Duzgun. So Kansu, if you'd like to get yourself ready to go and set up, and Steph, and as soon as you're ready, you can let Steffi know to put on the timer on the screen. If you can't see the timer, I will definitely give you a 1-minute alert anyway. So over to you. Good luck.
Okay, can you hear me first?
We certainly can, yes.
Okay. Now I will start if you want.
Yes, you can start.
Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, dear participants and the audience. Today, I'm going to present to you our project named Data Retrieval and Processing of Seasonal Forecasts. As a group 2, we worked together to prepare this presentation. And on this slide, you see the names of group 2. In other words, my teammates that I worked with on the project. Before start, let me introduce myself. I am Cansu Düzgün, and I am a master's student at Istanbul Technical University. I am studying atmospheric sciences. And I will start with what is data management and why is it important. Data management is the practice of collecting, storing, and using data in secure, efficient, and cost-effective manner. And companies can make decisions that will provide the highest benefit to organization and implement them by data management. And we can basically say that the purpose of the data management is optimizing the usage of data. And in this point, what we need is we need automated retrieval scripts of forecast data to run the service. And the other need is historical reanalysis and hindcasts to evaluate forecastical and develop bias correction. I think we will see this in group 3. And in this project, we selected a case in order to progress through a specific event and location. We need to do a historical analysis first. That's why we downloaded ERA5 reanalysis data to analyze the event first. Now we are looking at the CDS API codes for reanalysis data. These are very short and simple. And in the data processing of reanalysis data, the top map shows 2010 July monthly average temperature data. The heat wave event happened in that month, and the bottom map shows 30 years of average temperature data. And at the right-hand side of the slide, we are seeing the temperature differences. 2010 July is warmer than the averages. You can see that from the color bar. The green color shows that the temperature difference is up to 2 degrees. And except Aegean and the Akdeniz coasts, the whole map is roughly green, we can say. And after reanalysis, here is the downloading forecast data slide. Forecasts are downloading from CDS as well, but the process is more involved than that. And in here, new forecast ensembles are issued regularly and need to be downloaded. And secondly, forecasts come in ensembles, so that means there is one more dimension. And finally, there are also different systems, but for this project, we only use NTEP CFS version 2 data. And we can say that downloading forecasts needs to be automated or scripted using CDS API. While downloading the data, we faced 2 technical challenges. The first one is the data is only available in group 1 format. You need to convert to NetCDF. To solve this problem, we used CDO commands. And the other technical challenge is ensemble dimensions and forecasts with the time dimension and had to be unstacked. In this slide, I will talk about data management plan and resources. For data management plan, each monthly ensemble for Turkey is roughly 110 kilobytes, and for daily data over Europe is larger, and it is roughly 150 megabytes. And with several forecast systems, that's about 1 gigabyte per month. And for computing resources, I can say that a regular workstation with commercial hard drive would be sufficient. And the picture shows the folder structures to organize data. We put it here as an example. And finally, for the potential cost of climate service for the heatwave case, we can say that the seasonal forecast data has much lower spatial and much lower spatial and temporal resolution for numerical weather prediction data. So the storage and processing cost is much lower than that. And we provide you with examples of cloud computing and cloud storage services here. We put 2 examples of them in this slide. And to wrap up, here are lessons learned. We can say that scripting data retrieval and processing always takes more time than you think. You should be careful about this. And secondly, CDS does not provide optional formats. We think it could be improved. And our final lesson learned is seasonal forecast data is not that large. And I just want to thank you all. Thank you for your attention. If there's any question as a group 2, we will have to answer it.
Thank you. Absolutely perfect timing, right on the button, as we say. So over to you, judges. Open the floor to you, and you are welcome to respond to any questions, Cansu. So over to you.
Yeah, I can start. Thank you, Group 2, for the nice presentation. I would just have a quick question. So, apart from the format issues of the data available in the CDS, would you have any other recommendation to Copernicus in order to improve the service? What would be the top priority, you would think?
As from my group teammates, Andre or Kristen, can you take this question, please? If you're here.
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, and so there are the data formats. That's one thing. There's also no option to select ensemble members or maybe a subset of ensemble members. So there are a couple of things that are, I guess, kind of inconvenient also in the consistency between different forecast systems. So there always has to be sort of like some special case handling. And I mean, NetCDF would be more, would be easier to process. That's also a big thing, I guess. And then I guess the forecasts are all on the same latitude longitude 1 degree grid. That's good because it is consistent, but actually a lot of the forecasts come at a higher resolution from the centers, and it might be good to have the original resolution as well. Although I understand that it is hard to put them all on the same grid then. Yeah, and I think offering NetCDF and maybe a better way of handling the lead time and the ensemble dimensions, that would be the most important thing.
Okay, thanks. I'll let the judges ask questions as well.
Yeah, probably I take the floor just to ask the group, is there any user or any specific question that you were addressing when you thought about this service? It was not clear from the presentation. I mean, specific user, specific sector.
We only try to analyze the heat wave case as a case study, and we focused on downloading and storing data. And it was our main purpose, actually. The downloading and the storing data was the addressing issue.
So I'll ask a question if that's okay, if that's all right with you, Roberta. So I was really pleased to see the sense checking of the data as part of your presentation. That's really nice that process was going on. I wondered what other sort of quality assurance you might expect to put in place for an ongoing service. So if you're automating this, the download and the processing, how you might handle that in a sort of more real life situation.
Andre, would you like to
Yeah.
answer that?
Well,
Yes,
yeah. That's a good question. I mean, so one thing that can happen is that forecasts just don't get issued or because of technical issue. And so you basically have to write it in a way that, for example, if one center forecast is not available, the process does not break. We're in a somewhat better position, I guess, than weather forecasting because forecasts are not issued as often. So, and it's not, it's also time for intervention or to redo something. But yeah, the issue of, I think that forecasts are sometimes not available or come in late is something that has to be handled. And so also like in the download process, they have to be a robust download retries, for example. So yeah, a lot of these kind of technical issues, I think, is the biggest thing.
Okay, we have about a minute left, judges, if you've got any more comments or questions.
Yes, I have one comment regarding the sites, and it's absolutely true that a seasonal forecast, if you select one specific region like Turkey or a part of Europe, is not very large. But when you start to work on larger areas and including also more variable, the sizes start to increase quite rapidly, especially if you want to keep also the incast and the ERA5 data. And you don't have also to underestimate the effort in downscaling the data, because from the users, there's often the need of having scale data at higher resolution. In that case, the sites that you are going to occupy on this could really increase significantly, and also the need of hardware and architecture.
Yeah, certainly. If you would downscale, you would easily have 3 orders of magnitude more data. Absolutely. But so that was not part of our project, I guess.
Okay, thank you very much, Group 2, and thank you, judges, for your very good probing questions there. Very well handled, Group 2. Right, so now we move over to Group 3, which is post-processing of seasonal forecast data. And we have 3 members of Group 3.
Yeah.
Representing. Hello, so that's Laura. Hello,
everybody. Can you hear me? Yeah.
We can hear you nice and clearly.
I've got a new microphone today, so
it's definitely working loud and clear. And then we've got Eliza Terengi and Dana Miku. So just want to give Steffi the chance to get that timer on the screen for you. I can tell you're so keen, and that is brilliant.
Yeah, we are. Can you see my screen actually?
Nothing's being shared at this moment.
All right, hang on, bear with me for a moment. Right. Can you see now?
Yes, we're good.
Excellent. So I've got Dana first actually, so I'm going to be quiet for a moment.
Okay. Hi everybody. I'm Dana. I'm part of Group 3, and we had to focus on the post-processing of seasonal forecast data. So our project is having a small part of the job of Group 2. Actually, we had to retrieve some data from the climate data store, and afterwards we post-processed the data. And we choose a Hungarian location case study for this purpose. Our team is quite large. We have all the members here. And our mentors were Christian and Victor, and we are grateful for their support and help during the development of our project. So climate change is a real challenge for the energy sector, and this is playing a double role because it could be beneficial on one part, if thinking to the availability of renewable resources, but also a threat, especially to the supply sector, in relation to the significant climate variability at seasonal and monthly level, which means a large fluctuation in energy demand and power price. So this was the idea, the central idea of on which we based our project. So the project objectives was to post-process the forecast monthly air temperature data from different models in order to match the observations with the general purpose of identifying some intervals of consecutive cold or hot months which could be relevant for the peak power demand or fluctuation in the energy price. In this purpose, we selected some data sets as mentioned. So we had some observations. We decided to take some data from my country. It refers to a data set, which it is a gridded data set. It is called Rocada, which is covering a larger domain, which is exceeding the borders of my country. And it has a quite generous temporal coverage starting from 1961 to 2013. This means 33 years. And also the beneficial side of this data set is that it have a good spatial resolution of about 10 kilometers. So we selected a certain point from this data set, which is actually located nearby the Romanian border, So this is the observational data set. For the forecast model, we access the climate data store of the C3S Copernicus program, and we download it, we retrieve the data from this data set, seasonal forecast, monthly statistic on single level. So we selected 4 models, and here are our results.
Hello, thank you, Dana. So we used, if anyone isn't familiar, this is a Python script, it's a Jupyter notebook. And this is obviously where we've loaded the data in. Thanks for what Dana said. We've used 4 models and we're comparing the Romania data set, even though the point was in Hungary, but I called it Romania data. We loaded it in here. And we've used net CDF files like group 2, actually. I like the cloud storage group 2, so that's where we can store those. And so we're assembling the models here together. I appreciate I haven't got much time. And so obviously we plot them on the same graph for clarity to see where your model will match up. So obviously we could take a client's data from their own home weather service, and we can match it up with like established climate models. I won't go through too much of the code, I haven't got much time, but we actually made a model where you can actually match it up to the closest match of an established climate service to your own climate service. So here it was matched up closer to ECMWF. Let's leave it over to Eliza. Sorry, I haven't left you much time.
30 seconds, Eliza.
Okay, so these are the results that also Laura has just presented to you. And well, unfortunately, there was not a good agreement between the model combinations and the observational data. So you can see that the correlations are quite low. So next slide, please. And so we thought about why
I'm afraid time's up. I'm going to have to stop you there. But maybe the judges will be very kind on you and ask questions in a certain way which allow you to give some of your conclusions. But that's up to the judges. Okay, it's not up to me. So, so judges, any thoughts, comments, or questions?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
And Laurent?
Yeah. I would just like to ask, why do you think the forecasts are so poor on this area?
So we think that one problem could be the coarse resolution of the models with respect to the data. So we are talking about 10 times difference in resolution, particularly because the area that we were considering is particularly very complex area in terms of mountains, in terms of morphology. So a coarse resolution model usually has some problems and develops a lot of errors when dealing with complex morphology. And also we are talking about Europe, so a region in which well, we do not have a strong influence from slowly evolving patterns such as El Niño. So, well, we were expecting this type of results.
Yeah, and also I understand you worked only on the ensemble mean of all the members for each model. And did you have any time to look into the full ensemble distribution and to look at the size of the distribution, for instance?
No, we didn't have time to do that, but well, that was one of the suggestions to improve the forecast.
Yeah, it's a median there. So just showing people, yeah, it's a median we took there. Yeah, thank you. So I'll go back.
Thank you. Someone else, maybe?
Yeah, so I thought that was a great job at getting through an awful lot of content there, because like you said, you had to do the retrieval and the post-processing, and both of those tasks are pretty chunky. So what would you do to maybe try and improve the relationship between the observation data set that you have and the model? How might you be able to go forward from here?
Well, one thing that we noted is that we only used some European models. So as also suggested by the speakers in the previous lessons, we maybe should use also models from other parts of the world, our modeling communities, so as to introduce some independence.
and also maybe some downscaling techniques so as to improve the representation of the mountains and of the morphology.
That's great, thank you. Any other judges? Otherwise, I think I'll make the comment that if this was me working on this particular project, what I might do as well is think about a larger scale to understand how the model and the observations are related to each other, and then from there think about how you can make that information useful to the end user. Obviously, if you scale up, you're providing less detailed information, but at the same time, if that's the scale that the information is on, that's the starting point, and then going forward to how that might be useful.
I think it's quite useful to see, actually, obviously to use as a model to look at obviously a local data set compared to general models. I'd actually like to apply it to an area that I live in, Lincolnshire. We always seem to have anomalies all the time, so I'm actually going to try it with my own data actually at some point as well.
Yeah, I would just say that it would have been good to have in mind a problem, a specific problem that you want to solve, a specific assets or energy wind farm or solar farm or something that you know could be useful and applicable to a specific user which is exposed to this weather and climate variability and change.
Yeah, it's good. It's good for sort of like areas where you have like the mountainous area, or where I live, where we have a lot of wind farms. That's true, actually. We have lots of wind farms, and so that our local forecast is probably quite different to like a coarser grid. So we probably benefit from a hyper local, and to find out actually that our some of the weather models we might be using might not be that great. Obviously, for our particular area, we might be losing money because obviously it's forecasting the wind badly. So if we find that out, we can work on it. Thank you. Yes, thank you. It's good. Yeah, it's a good idea. To apply it to certain situations if you have more time. That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay, you've got 1 more minute, so another chance for another comment or question. There's a question actually in the chat. So since there's a pause, we'll ask it. What this software can do to predict drought modeling? Can it do that?
Oh, interesting. I can say that it could in a way, because we had I was gonna say, because I think Eliza was talking about the it was actually a prediction model, wasn't it, in the end, because we had a lead time of 0. That was quite interesting. We had more time to talk about. It ended up being a prediction model. It's quite interesting. But I'd like to apply some machine learning to that. I know I'm a bit obsessed. You said my question earlier, but yes, that would be, you could bring it forward to be a drought prediction model, because it ends up being quite a prediction model instead, which actually ends up being quite interesting to me and for forecasts in the end. So thank you for that question. That's really interesting, actually.
Right, thank you, Laura. Thank you, everybody in group 3. That was very good, and your enthusiasm most certainly shined through all the way through. So
thank you.
Brilliant. Right,
thank you, group.
To group 4 now. So group 4 is creating a mini business plan and financing for seasonal forecast climate service. And representing group 4 is Roland James McAdam and Melita Perchet-Tadic. So you two, you have got, if we have a look at there, see if Steffi's getting ready with the timer. So when you're ready, you may begin.
Okay, I assume you can see my screen.
We can.
Excellent. Hello, everyone. We were group 4, but in the last 3 weeks, I think we have become Wave Profit, which is business plan, a business, and it's our response to the task of creating a mini business plan and financing for a seasonal forecast climate service. Wave Profit is all about unlocking the power of seasonal forecast of waves. And before I continue, I'd like to thank our mentors, Hamid and Laurent. So, the future of the blue economy is exciting, and it's going to grow, and it will rely on a continuous stream of reliable surface data. And one target for us is, for the blue economy, is a potential production of wave energy, which is enormous. even the most conservative estimates suggest it could play a huge role in the future. There are currently no companies which provide seasonal forecasting predictions of marine energy production or risk assessments. Renewable energy companies could make great use of this. At the same time, there are many other sectors in the blue economy which could make use of extreme weather predictions and estimating the probability of extreme waves, for example. So we have quite a wide net to cast in our business plan. And what we're going to do is this. The services we offer will be, our key selling point is that we will create economic and practical value from seasonal forecasts of existing variables such as wave height and frequency. And we would do that by taking freely available data such as that from Copernicus or from a partner institution and turning that into work which would estimate wave power generation expected in the forthcoming season or to assess the risk of storm and extreme weather. And this would be provided in a range of subscription types. We'd have the base model subscription wave chart, which is access to online maps and statistics, and other subscriptions like Wave Break, which is maintenance estimates, Wave Power, and then Wave Plus, which is a combination of the two, and each should be provided at a different price. Talking of the financing, I will now hand over to Melita, who will detail this.
Thank you. But how to build a business plan? It's not an easy question for meteorologists and oceanographers. But with the right tool, we managed to build the most important blocks of our proposal, and you can see it here. It's actually a strategizer tool canvas that we used. It's basically a sheet of paper divided into 9 blocks with a title and a small icon that reminds you what each block is about. The great manual goes with it. Ronan already presented the value that we are delivering. That's number 1 on our canvas. It has the image of a small present. But for whom is it? It's on the customer segment, number 2. So it is for the wave power production companies, aquaculture, and local transportation. The heart of our business is in the relationship with our customers, number 3. In our case, it is the partner relationship in co-creation of the business and in long-term relationship based on subscription and customer support. Through which channels are we delivering our service? It's number 4. In our case, it's in-house sales team, web page that we are going to deliver, and customer support. Essential for delivering the value are the key activities. Number 5 in our canvas. So building a seasonal prediction model based on the seasonal forecast that will estimate the power output of the plant based on efficiency curves.
1 minute left.
Then there is the design of the web portal and API, customer interaction, and preparation of user manuals. Which resources do we need? You see this on the number 6 and number 7. And with that, we roughly filled all our 7 blocks. So we can proceed to our financial plan. What is the cost and what is the revenue for the service? So we need money for personnel, for legal support, office rent on the left, and that will cost us 252,000 euros per year. We estimate the revenue, it will be 530,000 a year, and our net profit ends up with 278,000 a year. So with this, I will thank you for listening and our mentors for valuable discussions and instructions.
Right on the buzzer, folks. Well done. Good stuff. And that was, for those of you who've seen the UK or US Dragon's Den, that was very much a Dragon's Den pitch with the finances at the back there, wasn't it? Right. Okay, judges. So over to you, your 6 minutes.
Okay, could ask some question regarding the subscription price that you define as 3,000. How do you arrive at that cost? It's 10,000 for our production and 3,000 euro for the other 2 streams. How do you end up with that price?
Should I start? So this, what we are looking at the center of this slide is actually the revenue that we are predicting, and the costs are on the right. So your question was about the cost or about the revenue?
No, the cost of your service for aquaculture is 3,000 for a year.
Yeah.
Why you arrived to this cost? What is the reasoning behind to make this your service costing 3,000 euro for a year?
Well, we were discussing it a little bit, and we didn't find any company who actually produced this kind of service. So it was hard to estimate it. So it is kind of something that we think people would pay. Even I'm guessing they would pay a little bit more. But since we are just starting, this is the price that we end up. So if somebody else from the group,
I can add that the relative price is to do with the amount of expertise that's needed for each sort of product. So talking about wave power production, we'd be turning physical variables into variables such as power produced or probability of going beyond a particular power production and the amount of surplus energy required if you don't produce enough energy, which would require our own expertise and our own model building, whereas the other services would be based more on statistics of physical variables which already exist.
Okay. The other question is regarding the cost that you exposed for the people. Don't you think that 35,000 euro is relatively very low compared to the normal salaries? Because 35 is your cost. The salary of the people is about 25,000 gross cost. So it's relatively low.
I suppose again it's unclear what a salary for this sort of work would be. In research, I suppose a similar analyst role, early postdoc, I suppose, would be the same, roughly. So it's based on that, I suppose. It's based on our experience.
I guess it
what we get paid.
I guess a factor would also be in which country we hire the people. I guess we could find a country where these prices would match the market, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, and the legal consultation fees, well, lawyer cost more and more than 5,000 euro for 1 year. Every time you have to sign a contract, and from your projection, you are going to sign about 90 contracts in 1 year, you need more legal consultation fees than the one you propose.
Well, that's good to know. It's not information that's easy to get if you've never done it before. But I think that even if you, well, let's say we multiply these legal consultation fees by, I don't know, we're talking 5 times, 10 times, I think we'd still even have a net profit even in the first year. So I think we could handle it financially.
But we can confirm that we were quite on the lower end of our estimations. So we had some initial higher estimations, but then we decided to go quite lower. But we would be happy to hear your advices.
Well, another question is...
That was the hardest part for us.
There's just enough time for one more question. There's no advice being given out right now, just questions and comments. So one more then.
Well, I wanted to compliment the speakers on their pun at the beginning there. I did notice it, that they are going to cast their net wide in this oceanographic climate service. So well done for that one. And I also really like to see the business model canvas being used. That's a nice tool for this particular setup. What I wondered about, which I don't think was featured in the canvas, was how you were going to reach those audiences, how they were going to get to know about your company.
And then can you go one slide back?
Okay, it's 30 seconds for your response.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. So the channels that we are going to deliver our service, we were thinking that we are going to have 1 to 2 power companies that are going to be actually our investors and partners for co-delivering this service. So we were thinking reaching them through our in-house sales team. And then the rest of the clients, we were thinking that we are going to reach to the web page. And also,
okay. I'm going to have to stop you there. Thank you very much. So, well done, Group 4. And now we move on to our final group, Group 5. So, a little bit of a change in their brief. So, which was given, there was a slight error in the earlier one, and this is actually to develop an evaluation framework for a specific seasonal forecast climate service. And representing this group is Sarah Osima. Sarah, are you with us? Or someone from Group 5? So do we have someone from Group 5 who can step in for Sarah if Sarah is having technical difficulties?
Hi, this is Claire, one of the mentors from the group. I think Sandra or Francesca, I know you were quite heavily involved in producing the PowerPoint. Ah, Sarah's going. Okay.
Hello.
Hello. There you
yes,
are.
good afternoon. Can you see my PowerPoint?
We can.
Hello? Can you hear me?
We can, and we can see your PowerPoint, yes?
Yes, yes. Okay, I'm going to present on for Group 5 on the evaluation of seasonal forecasting. We are going to look for drought as the element of hydropower production and demand. We are going to look for the motivation for evaluating the seasonal forecast. We have, why are we evaluating? To improve climate service, to understand the strength and weakness of the product generated and service delivered, to enhance stakeholders' trust on the products and service provided, to know whether customers understand the information, to understand whether the service meets customers' need, to reach more customers and hence increase number of users, and finally to increase value of the products and service delivered. Then how are we going to do this? These are some suggestions. We're going to look at questionnaires, statistical metrics, and we are going to evaluate live meeting, demonstration, and discussion with stakeholders and users. And the framework is the forecasting, the decision makers, the context in the decision making, and the user interface. Again, I have example for the evaluation. You can see the forecasting for Tanzania. This was OND weather forecasting, and this is there was outlook, and then you have outcome. So in visualizing, you can have maps, you can have graphics, video, and animation. And then you have to look at the method. How are you going to disseminate the information? Oh, we have radio, we have Facebook, and television, and so on. Again, we have the user interface. Well, there are several questions we can be asking ourselves. Is the current visualization of forecast information easy to understand? Does the visualization make the interpretation of the results easy? And again, you can see the following questions. Again, we have another possible questions for evaluation. Are there only physical metrics available, or are they also converted to practical information? These are such of the questions that we can ask ourselves. And again,
Another possible question, how do the forecast data fit with the observation? How is the forecast compared with the forecast obtained by different methods? Is the forecast out at prompt time so that you can process them to what you need? Would it be possible to replicate the results? Are the uncertainties of the forecast model clearly stated and explained? Is the spatial resolution of the forecast high enough to resolve your region in interest? Can the forecast results be extended to general and realistic? So finally, I would like to thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you for organizers. Thank you for my group. It was a very good group. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sarah. So, so judges, you will have 7 minutes and 40 seconds to give your feedback, comment, and questions. Marcelo.
Yes, thank you very much, Sarah. Very nice presentation. And I think that one of the most interesting part is how to distribute the information. So you really highlight several important parts, if I'm not wrong, in slide number 5, in which not only web pages, but social media and radio. So I have some experience because I worked for a while in Africa for providing other kind of services. And a radio, it's a very important tool, as well as television, for providing information also to farmers or other players. So I really appreciate that part in which you're covering very, very well how you disseminate your information.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, we use radio, we use television, Facebook. If you go to the Facebook, you can find the information. You can find the weather forecast on the Twitter and other medias. Yes, for the case of Tanzania, we have improved a lot. All these media, we are using them. And we have very good positive feedback from the users.
Yes, Sarah and group 5. Sorry, I don't know if my camera is working, by the way, but Laurent speaking. Thank you for your nice presentation as well. I would like to know if you could identify what specific resources, what kind of profiles you would need to address to different publics through those different means, so Facebook and television and radio and so on. What kind of skills do you think are absolutely necessary to ensure that this transmission of information is made in an efficient way?
Yeah. Okay, I know my colleague online can help me, but for my case, I think we lack giving online when we prepare this forecast. In many cases, it's not it's not directly online. Only during the in few cases, like when we are providing the press conference, when we have seasonal forecast for the first day, we give it online. But the update sometimes it delays because we don't have the television to directly to make service. We have to record like this daily weather forecast. We record we record and take the weather forecast to the TV station. So in that case, I see we have constraints in terms of dissemination. But again, with the radio is very good for the villages. They get radio. Then everywhere we have radio, and this information is very much reachable to these areas. And for the case of the companies, like the energy company, we have tailor-made weather forecast for the company. And during the seasonal forecast, we have packed information which is provided to the users, like energy sector, agricultural sector, water sector, and so on. Thank you.
We still have a bit of time, judges. So if you've exhausted your train of thoughts, then we can move on, or is there any other thoughts or ideas or questions? We do have a question from the group while I give the judges a chance to think. What variable to use forecast and how to validate your forecasts? I'm just reading that verbatim from the thing here. So what variable to use for your forecast and how do you validate your forecast?
Yeah, in most cases we use rainfall and temperature.
Okay.
Yeah. Like this chart here, you see is rainfall forecast.
Thank you. Okay, any final thoughts from the judges?
Yes, just to highlight the importance of vocal information, because in some part, in some region, not all the people are able to read, farmer especially, and you can't rely on SMS and WhatsApp sometimes because there is no GSM coverage, and so radio is really one of the most relevant instruments for disseminating information because are vocal and can reach all the also the remote area. So it's a very, very important mean.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That was very interesting from a geography teacher's point of view, because that's one thing we talk about, how different ways to communicate, bearing in mind, you know, some of the geographical and technological barriers and things like that. So thank you. That was very interesting. Right then, everybody, we bring our presentations to a conclusion therefore. We can clearly see the amount of collaboration and hard work that all the groups have put in. And thank you very, very much to all the mentors of each group too. And I can tell that you've had a really pleasing experience working with them. Right, so the judges are going to have about 15, maybe 20 minutes to deliberate. And in the meantime, I'd like to give the floor back to the Koga team, who are going to prepare a little bit of an interactive for you while we're waiting. So back over to the team.
Thank you, Keith. Well, hello, everyone. Congratulations on those incredible presentations that reflect all the hard work during the summer school that you were doing. As Keith said, we would like to do a quick, well, not so quick because we have to give time to the judges to deliberate and select the winner, but a dynamic to get to know you more through Menti, which is a platform we have been using to connect with you through these sessions. Only the judges will go to the meeting room, so all the rest, you stay here, okay? Okay, so please go to menti.com and you can enter Menti through the code that you can see on screen, which is 86284149. And we will start with the first questions for this moment. I will share my screen with the Menti, so we can start with the first one. Okay. There we go. We can see already the Menti on screen. I think we have already left the links. Maybe I will ask Ceci or Danny if you can help me putting the link to the Menti in the chat also, please. The code, Dana, is 86284149, as you can see here on the top of the screen. Okay, so I'm already getting some answers. There are 13, so there are a lot of people in this session. We're expecting more answers from you to get to know a little bit more. So, in your opinion, why are climate services important? So far we have as a first option, mitigating and adapting to climate change. The second one is better performance of energy and water sector. The third one, innovating and learning something new. And the fourth one is making profit. Okay, this is a matter of opinion, so we are still expecting more. I can see that the link of the Menti is already shared in the chat, so yes, more people joining us, great. But still the answers are quite the same so far. Okay, making profits, gaining some more answers. Good. So I have 25, 26. Let me check how many we have. Around 40 participants. So great, 30. Okay, well, we can move on to the next one. Remember that all the answers, sorry, all the questions are still on the platform, so you can still complete them, even if we change to the next slide. Okay, so next question will be, in your opinion, how important are these components for climate services? And you can choose multiple ones. We have for not important at all or very important. And the variables are stakeholder engagement, data processing and retrieval, post-processing and modeling, business models and funding, or evaluation of climate services. Okay, so we're getting the first answers. If someone would like to comment on this, of course, you're all welcome. Also, you can do that opening your microphones or through the chat. So far, we have, well, we have two. Stakeholder engagement is the one that is gaining more weight as a very important. Then we have the business model and funding, very close, the post-processing and modeling. Then the evaluation of climate services and data processing and retrieval. Although they are very, very similar and equal in how important they are. We have a comment from Laura. The post-processing and modeling will be an important part to display visually to customers. Yes. Great. Good. So the most important one so far is the stakeholder engagement, but they are all very similar in the importantness. Okay, so we go to the next one. How will you use the knowledge you gain during the summer school? This is a question that you can type. So we will be waiting for your answers, and they will be showing here. Laura says, yes, the post-processing and modeling will be important, and they can be used to obtain the engagement. Great. Remember that you can access the Menti through the chat. There's a link. And if it asks you for a code, it's 86284149. Okay. We're still not getting any answers. Okay, we have one. I will download more from the climate data storage. I will always look for a multimodal blend of seasonal forecasting. Great. We have an exclamation point. Okay. We also have another one, how to construct a business model from scratch. I will integrate it into my workflow, and I will also use my knowledge for developing climate services for the company I currently work for. That's great. Another answer is to do my dissertation about rock modeling. Great to hear that. For education as a lecturer and improve the services. Another answer is make a nice questionnaire to evaluate our future products. Also be more capable and informed when approaching stakeholders about our climate products. has made me think about ways to communicate data and information to everyone, for example, in the radio. Foster interaction with users and establish oriented approach for climate services to improve climate services in our institution, to entrepreneur in climate services, integrate into curriculum development, also share the materials and information to colleagues and try to help clients. I will use the knowledge at work to create new climate products, right? To familiarize more people to climate services in regions like Nepal, where currently climate services information are sparse. Useful insights and tips to turn into climate entrepreneurship. Okay, that's great. We had 19 answers. You can complete this during the meantime also, so we can move on to the next question. There we go. What's the most valuable learning you learned in the summer school until now? This is another one for you to think a little bit before answering. If you could select one, at least one most valuable learning, what would that be? Okay, we have an answer from Dr. Bridge. Research to improve linkage between forecast and climate service. Right. Let me see. We rely too much on the internet and social media. Also, if you want to comment, you can unmute your microphone, sorry, or put it in the chat as Laura and Dr. Rich did. Okay, so we're getting your answers. Improve coding skill of climate data, right? I learned that data resolution is important, that climate services can be a very profitable business, data acquisition and Python modeling, that's great. The most valuable learning is how to evaluate weather models performance. We also have people that learn communication skills. Hearing from specialists in climate services is also appreciated. The viability of climate services within the current economy. What venture capital firms are looking for in investments, that is also very interesting. Decision tree processes, post-processing of seasonal forecasts. The group project challenged me. I didn't even know what a business plan looked like before the school. Now I have helped to make one. That is so great to hear. Bridging science and social aspects. Also new data. The TEAL tool, yes, that was great also. Teamwork, new knowledge about climate change. Climate services are very useful and can be profitable. Accuracy of work is very important. I gain knowledge from other experts, and I also know how to integrate climate services with business, how to get money. The value change from customers needs to business plans and evaluation, a joy of collaboration with new people. That is also great that you could be able to network with all the other students in the class. The scope of business model development and some tips for the valuable team and experts. Great. I also have another comment here. Link is missing between government med services and the climate services by private players. Okay. We'll go to the next one. Let me see. Yes, this is the next one. If you could live in just one season all year long, what it will be? This is a challenging one because we have like very complicated opinions normally in this one. But summer is gaining weight. Okay, summer, spring, autumn. We from Koga, we are from Paraguay, so summer is very, very hot. So I'm not sure my answer will be summer, but spring is nice also. Great, so we have 28 answers. I still want to know what's the best season for the other 10, 15 people that are here. I have another answer from Melita from the previous question. Produce values that solve a customer problems, other does not interest them. Yes, customers are key. Okay, so we have a winner. That is spring. That is a really nice season. Yes, I think we can agree. Okay, so next question. Where would you most like to go to live? It can be your own country or your own city, but if you could, where would you? This is a very complicated answer also. Okay, Hawaii. That's great. Barcelona, Vine. The Maldives, anywhere with my wife. Oh, that is very nice. As long as the wife is there, anywhere seems perfect for this person. France, Ireland, somewhere with mountains. Yes, there's also like people that rather go to the beach, other that to the mountains. English countryside, the Caribbean, Tokyo, Orange. Well, we have very different. Viña del Mar, that is also great. The Canary Island, Japan, Rome, Lausanne, Switzerland, Amsterdam, Porto. Okay, so there are many different opinions. I can see that none of them was repeated. Oh, there, just in time. Barcelona, we have 2 answers for Barcelona. 2 cheers for Barcelona. Okay. Okay, so we'll go to the next one. If you had a superpower, what would it be? We have wall crawling or super speed, unnatural good luck, and granting wishes. Let me see. Okay, granting wishes is a good superpower, yes. We have 22 answers. So far, granting wishes is the winner, so it may seem. Okay. We have 27 answers. Anyone else? Is there a superpower that is not in the presentation that you might want to have? Maybe you can put that in the chat also. Like, I don't know, being invisible, teletransportation, flying, yes. Peter Parker will be with us, yes, totally. Invisibility, the ability to make CO2 disappear, that is awesome. Never making a mistake. Okay, that is awesome. Oh, 2. Wind control. the availability to predict the climate correctly months in advance. We have another one for teleportation, reverse climate change, and for one. That is a good one. Time traveling. But do you want to go to the future or to the past or both? Removing terrorism. That is good also. I've been told I skipped one question, so let me check where I skipped it.
Is remove it, so it's the last question now.
Okay. Okay, so I'm rechecking all their answers. We have an answer for Kristen, not caring for making mistakes. That would be another superpower. Healing is also very good. Okay, what can you do today that you were not capable of a year ago? Okay, so we have create business plan, travel, publish journal internationally, weather services, enjoy with friends, retrieve climate data, travel without quarantine. Yes, for some of us, we still cannot travel so much. Travel abroad, sorry, go to the office, finish my doctoral, that is great. Integrate with energy, enjoy with friends. Understand German news, okay, that is great. Help people in trouble, wine on the coast, yes. Go to the office, go outdoors. Be a scientist. What are other things that you can do today, but you were not capable of a year ago? Go to the office is the big one so far. We have only 12 answers. So maybe if you cannot answer in the Menti, you can leave it to us in the chat because we still need some time for the judges. They're still deliberating. Okay. Okay. We are ready. Great, Kit. Okay. Thank you all for your answers. And I will leave you with Kit. Okay, Kit, let me there.
Thank you.
Great.
Right. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, the first thing I saw when I came back was Vina Dama, and yeah, I totally agree with that one. I could do with that right now. Right. So thank you, everybody. So we have had our judges adjudication. So to make you aware that the judges had assessed you on 3 aspects, so presentation, innovation, and results separately, but then we combined those to kind of give an overall picture. So in terms of presentation, I'm gonna draw this out, right? And I make no apologies. In terms of presentation, they were very, very impressed with the first group, with group 1. They thought that was really slick and had some really good information and ideas in there. So well done to group 1 on that one. A special mention to group 5 in terms of innovation, you know, really thinking outside the box with regards to how to get hold of that evaluation. So that was really good. And in terms of results, it was special mention goes out to group 3. So well done to you 3 groups for having those 3 elements involved. But of course, the judges want to look at the bigger picture. Now, did one of you 3 groups get the whole thing, or was it one of the other 2? Are group 4 and group 2 still in with it? Well, we do have a winner. There was a lot of careful consideration. You tell, I'm just drawing this out on purpose now. I'm just keeping you on your edge of your seats. And the reasons why is because this group had considered all the elements of the value chain, you know, and it really, really clear about how they were addressing demand. They had a clear business plan. It was the judges felt that there was a complete cycle that was being presented. they also felt that there was a bigger picture. They could see the bigger picture. So not just with regards to the task that you had, but with the coding and see how that coding could be applied. They thought about how, you know, all the different elements of climate services, and the most important thing as well, what they said it was, they could see from your presentation that you were aware of all these components and could see, you know, there's a saying, see the wood for the trees. You can see how it can be applied, how it could be changed, how it could be implemented further down the line. So you could see the future through your presentation. So congratulations to group 4. Well done. And you have won a 1-hour mentoring session with our summer school experts, and the team will be in touch with you with more details in the coming weeks. And well, I'm sure you'll definitely make the most of it. So well done, group 4. And I just want to say thank you so much for everything. It's been an absolute pleasure to see all this and get to see some of you and experience all this wonderful work that's going on, amazing ideas. It's now time to close the summer school for this time around. And I'm going to pass you over to Alberto Troccoli, who's going to give us some final words. So Alberto, please do close off the summer school.